Good afternoon, everybody. We are shooting live still from Heron Athletics, but now we have a change of venue. We're shooting from the Evolve Yoga Room for once. It's kind of quiet in here, still kind of getting used to. And we are doing today our second product review. Today we'll be reviewing the Heron Athletics goodies, which you will be seeing in just a bit. Before we get to that, of course, please make sure that you follow us on Instagram and on Facebook. We are the Ground Grown Podcast. Also subscribe, of course, to our YouTube channel, our main medium for shooting out all of our episodes. Over there, we are the Ground Grown Podcast. When we return, we'll be talking about what products we have for today. Okay. We're doing now the official unboxing of the Heron. I'm so sorry if I'm butchering the name. Today we'll be reviewing two things. We've got your 7mm knee sleeves, and we've got the 50cm wrist support. Okay, they've got this little tag over here. It's very personalized. If you want to check them out, they have a website which is www.heronathletics.com. You can check them out on Facebook and on Instagram as well with the same name, Heron Athletics. I'm just gonna go with Heron because I feel like that's the real way to pronounce it. All right, okay, here we go. Nice box, very sleek. For those who don't know, this is locally made. This is a local brand, and I think that on its own should be already a great thing. As we always say, we love to support local. Contents, 2 pieces, 7mm knee sleeves. This is something that I would say would be export level already. They've got a sizing chart in the back and also an explanation on the idea of the 7mm thickness of the product, the way it's fit, what is the minimal design, 100% neoprene make, and other important information that includes how to wash it. I think that for something that is locally made, this is quite impressive on its own already, without even opening the product. Okay, let's check it out. All right. When you've got products that are sealed properly, this is the official unboxing, by the way. We've never seen this till today. When you've got products that are sealed properly in plastic, that always makes for a good item. All right. We see a lot of knee sleeves on the market today. And the first thing that we're going to see here, apart from the, how do we say this? This is printed branding over on here. This stitching right here, this is something that's rare to find in both locally made products and as well as commercially available items. I'm going to say right away that this is something that is worth getting just by the stitching. This is something that you see more in high standard or high quality knee sleeves or basically joint support. We'll find out, of course, later on how efficient that stitching is. We've got a medium over here, which is, I believe this one's for me, I think. Should be perfect for the size. The neoprene, it is thicker than what is mostly readily available out there, including the ones that you normally see in regular sports stores. The fit seems to be, there's a very, I would say, less focus on the compression aspect and a little bit more focus on possibly giving you range of motion. We say this by, if you look at it from a side perspective, there's a bit of a bottle glass or a glass bottle kind of a form right here, right? Versus if you saw it from a side perspective, it was just flat. Even from the front, because of the stitching and the way it's made, it has that sort of like an hourglass figure. And based on experience and the number of knee sleeves that I've tried out there before, this has a tendency to really help you with more of range of motion movements. Yeah, we'll check out the other product. Behind the card is a little letter to tell you that we've got you on our sleeves. That's really cute. I think anything that is personalized like that really gives value to the brand, right? We're gonna check out as well the other item. We've got wrist support. This is 50 centimeters long. Each one is individually wrapped in plastic. I think that's always good. That's an interesting Velcro. Typically, the Velcro that you see is flat at the top, not circular like this. And if you are a person who has experienced kinesio taping before, this is actually better. when you've got a rounded edge, this has a tendency to not hit your clothes and not get caught up. So possibly tighter. It's just a little thinner than what most Velcros are like, right? Got a good length of the strap. This is the thumb support. No, you're not supposed to keep that. Later on, we'll be showing you guys some quick tips on how to actually put on these kinds of support, right? Elasticity, a little softer than what's normally available, but I think that would be good, especially if we're looking at maybe intermediate to novice users of this one. Not too tight. This will be good for both bench press, which is ideally what this is for if you've got something of this thickness and this length, but at the same time it has that versatility for you to be able to do maybe some weightlifting and other wrist intensive movements. Alright, so we're going to look at the first impressions of our Heron Athletics equipment here. We've got your 7mm knee sleeves with the Heron branding on the back printed out. My first impression, apart from the fact that it truly is true to its word where it's 7mm thick, which if you're not familiar with knee sleeves, this is very good for primarily weightlifting, powerlifting. It offers very good support at this level and thickness without limiting too much your range of motion. The fabric is 100% neoprene, which is always good because it gives you just the right amount of flex and just the right amount of support without, again, like what I mentioned, constricting your movements. The thing that I like the most about this right here is this stitching right here, okay? The stitching basically gives you this idea that it contours towards your knee. It's not flat, especially if you look at it from the front or from the side. If you bend it like this, it's not flat. It gives you this hourglass figure, and this is the one that basically supports you through the movements and basically focuses where the support is supposed to be. Yeah. Moving on, we also have your wrist wraps. I'm going to choose the pink one, just because it's pink. It's very rare to find one that is pink. You've got the Velcro side, and if you look at it, it's round on the side. And this is always good because if you are familiar with kinesio taping, if the edges are square, they have more of a chance of catching on to your shirt, your clothes, or even your shorts. So the fact that it's round automatically means that it's unlikely for it to get caught with other things and, I don't know, remove itself from the Velcro. The length is 50 centimeters long. It has that initial thumb support to put on the strap, which is always good. It's 50 centimeters, like what I said. The flex or the softness is a little softer than what's mostly readily available out there. But then again, that could also be good, especially if we're talking about versatility. If we're looking at maybe using the wrist wrap for more than just weightlifting and powerlifting, for bench presses and front squats, this kind of flex is actually very good, just so that you can play around with it a little bit more. Yeah. So something that is locally made. The stitching is good. The quality in the fabric is really good, I must say. Fairly impressive. The packaging, if I didn't see it already earlier, is very professional, very clean, very well made, and all the basic and important information is shown almost everywhere in the box. So this is actually a really good product for something that is local. All right, so quick segment that we don't usually add for the product review, but we figured we'd throw it out there anyways, would be some just quick tips on how to actually use the items. And this will also be in addition to our first impressions on how it feels like. I've actually never worn this. We just unboxed this today. So one of the things about wearing knee sleeves is one of the most wrong practices that a lot of people do is it's set up like this, and a lot of people just kind of flip over the top and then they just shoot themselves in. That's actually a very inefficient way of pulling it in, and you might actually overstretch it because of the over pulling from the top. So what you're supposed to actually do is you're supposed to flip it around inside out, just like so. You're going to take the bottom part of the knee sleeve, and that's what's going to go into your foot first. So again, flip it over in, and you're going to pull it all the way till the flap is right under your kneecap, just like so. And from there, you're going to take the bottom half, and you're going to pull that over on top of your kneecap, maybe about an inch over, and go as high as you can within support. We're going to flip the bottom part and pull that from underneath, forward and down. Okay? And that's your most efficient way. All right. Now that I've got it on, I can really feel that stitching support that they made here. That range of motion that I was saying is definitely there. There's a lot of support. I would say a lot more support on the top side of the knee sleeve right now than the bottom part of the knee sleeve, which is, it can be a good thing, especially when you're squatting, because you don't want the bottom part of, or the top part rather, of your calf muscle to be too constricted. You want a lot of support on the quadricep, just above the kneecap as well. The kneecap stays in place as I move back and forth. I may not be squatting. I really want to stand. Just finished the workout, right? But so far, so good. Let's try out both of them, right? So again, you want to flip your knee sleeve inside out, just like so. Take the bottom part, bottom half of that knee sleeve to the bottom part of your kneecap. Pardon my dirty knees. I just did a burpee workout. Grab the top part of that knee sleeve over your kneecap. Pull it up a little bit more. Go under, flip it around. Grab the flap, pull forward and down. Bam. All right. There's definitely a lot of support. In terms of compression, it's also there. Because of its thickness, I can already feel the warmth on my knees, which could be good, especially if you like, maybe like if you're the type that puts on the liniment right before you put the knee sleeves. If you're that kind of guy, this is really good for you. The length of the knee sleeve itself is the one that's kind of boggling me right now. It's a little shorter than what you normally see. Now, I'm typically used to seeing some knee sleeves go all the way till around bottom part of my thigh, but I don't currently see that as a big limitation because it's not really limiting the support as well. The range of motion, fairly good. Especially at the bottom part of that squat, I can feel a lot of the support on the back of the knee, and the kneecap stays in place, which is, for most of the knee sleeve support, what we're really looking for, okay? Again, my favorite thing right now is that stitching, and the fact that this is a locally made product is actually very impressive. The quality of the material, the stitching from the bottom to the top to the side turns, and the contouring of the knee sleeve is fairly good. So, very nice on first impression. All right, next up, we'll be giving you some quick tips on how to wear these kinds of rip wraps, 50 centimeter wrist wraps from Heron Athletics. Like what I mentioned, this kind of material, this kind of fabric's really good, and their stitching's really nice on this one. I just have to say that again. I want to know who's your tailor. Just kidding. Right? The thumb support is something that a lot of people mistake. It is for the thumb, it's not for any other finger. It's actually used just to initially put it on, just so that you can actually wrap it around just like so, without losing that, or you can actually just do it with one hand, right? The second thing that I know a lot of people do wrongly is this. They'll put on the support where the edge of the strap, the top strap, is actually just at the wrist, just like so. So when it's completely wrapped around, this is actually really pointless. And trust me guys, this is so common in regular gyms. If it's fitted like this, but you've still got that full dorsal flexion of the wrist, full range of motion, that's not the point of wrist wraps, right? The whole idea is it gives you support where it helps you kind of limit the range of motion just to support your ligaments from not hyper or overextending. So the way you're actually supposed to use this is, if you look at this guide right here, I don't know if it's a guide or it's just the design, but we're going to look at the black stripes on the strap right here. We're going to take that middle strap, and we're going to look at the bone on your wrist just like so. When you put on that strap, that middle black line has to be lined up with the bone of your wrist, just like so, right? So in reality, the top strap is actually well into the palm of your hand, right? And the way it's going to work is you initially want almost very little tension when you initially put that strap. And from there, that's when you put the most tension. So a little bit of tension, maybe pull it out a little bit, wrap it over. It also depends on what you're doing. If you're doing bench presses, you're going to need a lot more tension. Or if you're doing just some front squats and some clean and jerks, you're not going to need that much tension. And here's the other thing. A lot of people I see, once they've got this wrap put on, this is the right way, by the way. So now I'm limited in terms of my flexion backwards and my extension forward. So now my wrist is fully protected, okay? Here's another thing that we see. A lot of people, they keep this little ring here on the whole time. You don't need that. Sometimes if the ring is actually very tight, which is for this brand right here, it's not, which is always good. The tendency is it's actually going to pull your thumb, and it's going to cause some kind of, not arthritis, but some kind of thumb pain eventually. So after you put it on, you're actually supposed to remove that. Where does it go? It's either it stays there, or you can tuck it in just a little bit. It's a usual light elastic that won't bother you at all. So that's essentially how you're going to put it. Okay, let's do it on the other one. Velcros are always good. It's like, I'm going to put it on the microphone just for fun. Velcro. Right, so thumb ring, middle of the black line, on the knuckle of your wrist, barely any flex on the first one or any tension on the first strap around. You can put a little bit if you want already, and a little bit of tension every time I go around. Strap it in, take out that thumb, pop it in just for support, and bam. All right, and of course we've got to discuss how much they are, right? For something that is locally made, I would say that the price points are very good. The knee sleeves, the 7mm knee sleeves go for 2,350 pesos, while the wrist wraps go for 480 pesos. This is as a pair. It's not priced individually or per item. And if you are familiar with a lot of the local and international brands, this pricing for this quality, this fabric, and this stitching, I would say is actually very good. How to get them is your next question. And of course, we just got confirmation on how to actually pronounce the product name. You can go to Heron Athletics, either on their website, which is www.heronathletics.com. I've got it loaded here on my phone. So they've got a fairly interactive website. It's a lot like shopping online. You can just add to your cart and check out, and I believe you can pay online and they can do the deliveries. You can also go to their Instagram account, which is on Heron Athletics, also their Facebook, titled the same way. Right? So if you want to order, head on over to their website, check out their social media, and order. Okay, so of course we want to make sure that everybody has a good understanding of what we feel is good about the Heron Athletic knee sleeves and the wrist wrap. So we've got our final verdict and rating, of course. We're going to say that the rating is based on 1, material. 2, functionality, of course, which is very important. Is it good for compression? Is the range of motion good? Is the support good? So on and so forth. 3, I'm gonna add stitching, just because I was so impressed by the quality of stitching, and this is always something that we always look for as well in the different kinds of support that we get. 4, price point. 5, of course, everybody's idea, aesthetic. How well does it look like? I'm a fan of minimalism, and so call me biased because this is very minimalist style. Overall, with those five items, we're gonna give it a good rating of 4.5 out of 5. So, check it out. Okay, and that's pretty much it for our product review number 2 for this week's product review, which is the Heron Athletics knee sleeves and wrist wraps. Thank you so much, guys, for giving us the opportunity to review the product. We're very excited to hit our workouts and lift some heavy weights with them, that's for sure. For those of you guys who want us to do a product review, you may go to our Facebook page, our Instagram page as well, and you can message us. That is the Ground Grown Podcast, in case you don't currently follow us already. Of course, if you want to watch the rest of our videos from our previous podcasts and our other product reviews and whatever other shenanigans we like to shoot, please head on over to our YouTube account. We are the Ground Grown Podcast, and don't forget to subscribe. Next week, we go into episode number 5 of the podcast, as we have yet another guest that will be joining us. So who that will be, you just have to tune in to find out. This is the Ground Grown Podcast. My name is Job.
I'm Big Boy.
We'll see you next week. Peace. We just want to give a quick shout out to, of course, Evolve Yoga Philippines, or Evolve Yoga, for letting us shoot today in their wonderful, wonderful yoga room, where it's nice and quiet. Sometimes it's too silent. I can actually hear my brain talking. Of course, follow them on Instagram. They are at Evolve Yoga PH. They have 2 branches, one with us here in Central Ground Athletics. The other one is in Alabang. Do check them out. One of the best yoga studios here in the Philippines.
Thank you.